If you ever said the words, it'll just be faster if I just do it all by myself. While working with your executive assistant, you aren't really failing at delegating. You might just be thinking or just doing it the wrong way. Now, most entrepreneurs like yourself are just treating their executive assistant like a human to-do list. You do this. These are things you need to do today. These are things you need to do every single week, every month. And trust me, I have been there. And in the last 6 years of running my executive assistant agency, I have seen so many people make these delegating mistakes that I don't want you to make. Because essentially what's happening is you are still managing your assistant and you're not giving them a lot of free space to be able to do what they actually needed to do and what you hired them for. And basically it boils down to you're giving your assistant a lot of tasks, but not the full picture of what the outcome actually is. Now I call this the task trap of essentially you are having to give your assistant tasks of different things that you're doing in a day. You're just throwing things into the wind and seeing what sticks. And then you come to find later on you're like, oh, I should have just done this myself rather than having to put all of the time training someone else to do it. Versus if you actually give them the outcome that you actually want and essentially getting what it is that you actually wanted in the first place. So for example, if you've been giving LinkedIn, it's like, hey, can you post on LinkedIn this many times a day, this many times a week? This is essentially what you need to do. Versus if you gave them the outcome of, I want our LinkedIn to create 3 inbound leads a week, basically people asking about what we do. That gives your assistant a direction rather than just the next step. When you assign outcomes instead of tasks, you're assigning or essentially outsourcing the thinking part of it. Is you're giving them the goal of like, hey, this is what I want. I want you to focus on making sure that this actually gets done. That is the changing point. So as a very recent example between me and my own assistant, I am running workshops essentially called Delegate or Automate, where I walk you guys through specifically how to be able to do this, how to sort out, tasks versus outcomes, all that good stuff, right? If I only told my assistant like, hey, I'm running a webinar, can you set up the email? Can you set up the website? Can you set up this? I'm giving her the tasks, right? Instead of giving her the ultimate outcome of, I want to be able to do this workshop to be able to get people interested in booking a call with us. So when I did that, she already has the steps. She can use Google, she can use AI, she can study, she has resources. There's YouTube University where she can go into and learn how to break down on what are the steps needed to be able to launch and promote a workshop. What are the things that she needs to do and she needs from me? So then I am able to just show up, do the workshop, do some promotions as she needs to. But again, that's less me managing her and her actually managing me, telling me what to do, telling me where to focus on, telling me where to put all of my focus, telling me to create this video for you. So then you are able to sign up for that workshop. You're essentially giving your assistant the full loop of where this is instead of giving them like, hey, can you set up the webinar sign up page? Hey, it's done. What's next? Now make sure that we have 7 days worth of posts to promote the webinar. Okay, that's done. What's next? So you're still the one giving your assistant, again, those next steps instead of just giving the direction of where it is that you want to go. So essentially what I've created is the WOW Delegation Method. It's essentially making sure that when you're delegating anything, when you're thinking of taking something off of your plate, you think of it in 3 main ways. The first W is the why. Why does this matter? Why does this matter in the business? Why does this actually need to get done? You're also essentially taking a pause within yourself of like, oh yeah, why is this something that needs to get done in the business? And then the O in the WOW method is the outcome. This is again the direction that you want them to go of like, what is the ultimate outcome? Do you want a PDF report? Do you want it to be slides? You're giving them what is the output that you are expecting to receive or to see, and making it clear to them that they can use these different sources, which brings out to the third W in the WOW method, which is the who and the what of like, who are the resources that they can tap. For example, for the workshop, I like to follow Daniel Priestley's flow essentially of like promoting and creating workshops for people every single month. That was part of the context for my assistant to be able to start promoting and creating the workshop. And at the same time, the what of like, what resources is there available for her? We have Zoom, we have Kit basically for having people be able to sign up. We have different AI automations that we have already set up before, but we just haven't really looked at again. So she has the again, the why this needs to happen, of like, why does this actually matter? Why this needs to get done in the business? The outcome of, again, getting people to sign up for the webinar. So then they are in turn going to be booking calls with us. And then the last W is the who and the what. Basically, what are the resources, or who are the resources for your assistant to actually get this work done. When you do this, you stop being the bottleneck. You stop having to keep repeating yourself over and over again. However, it doesn't stop there. The key thing, the magic sauce, the main thing that actually will make this stick longer is then making sure that your assistant creates a standard bank procedure on how this is done. That way it's going to be easier to do it the next time. So essentially, you've gone through the process of giving them the WOW delegation method of like, this is what we're doing, this is what I'm trying to get you to do. Then you've been able to hopefully give them feedback of like, hey, let's course correct, let's reiterate this, or like, hey, this was really, really good. The final step on this is then actually making sure that they document, they create SOPs, they create assets, they create templates. They basically go ahead and make it easy for the both of you to do that again, or even better, to delegate that to someone else, or even have AI start taking over for it. Because when it comes to AI, it can't really do things out of nothing. It needs data and documentation to be able to move forward. So if you want your assistant, which is now the next level here, of having your assistant manage the AI instead of you managing AI, then it boils down to making sure that there is documentation for the AI to follow, that what works essentially now has a good formula that someone else, whether that's a human being or the AI, to be able to follow. This way, you stop being the engine that keeps your assistant going. You just become the architect, and you're looking at this from that point of view. And then the rest is your executive assistant, who is empowered to do what they need to do. They have the tools, they have the resources, they have AI to be able to back them up to actually get to the outcome that you actually want them to work on. So this is why you need to stop giving them tasks to do and actually start focusing on the outcomes that they can create. Now, if you guys liked this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any questions you might have when it comes to delegating and working with an executive assistant. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of the future videos on how to grow your business, especially with an assistant and AI. And if you want your assistant to learn more about how they can work with you better as well, they can check out my first channel right here, and you can check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and fantastic day, and with that, small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.